So, the FM24 Winter Update has brought with it a host of upgraded players, new and upgraded Wonderkids, and we have showcased quite a lot of those here on the channel, but today's player is very, very special. He's a 16-year-old striker who, in my opinion, is one of the best in his position in the game right now. He's got insane potential, is pretty fairly priced as well, and has amazing starting attributes in some of the key areas of his game. But the thing about him is, I am not hearing anybody mention this player. He is relatively unknown. And that's where this episode of Wonderkid to Superstar comes in, the series where I, Jake, find a Wonderkid for you in FM and show you just how good they can be at their maximum potential. And this player is unreal at full growth, so make sure you stick with us to see his development. Even on the worst end of his potential, I think because of the attributes he has, if you use them in the right way, you will still get fantastic results. So before we start, if you do enjoy the video, or if you haven't heard of this player, make sure you go ahead and smash that like button for us, and subscribe to the channel as well, as we get very close now to 180,000 subscribers, which is crazy to say. But without further ado, let's go and find this player. And you'll see we're heading over to Belgium. Now bear in mind, database wise, if you can't find this player in your save, it might be because you don't have the Belgian divisions loaded, but if you do, head on over to one of the largest sides in the nation, which is Antwerp. You should find this man, George Ilenikhena. You'll see he's playing for Real Madrid here. That's because we've moved him to our team for the sake of this simulation. But the first thing I must point out is in Season 1, you won't be able to sign him straight away. He is a recent signing for Antwerp from Amiens, so you'll have to wait at least 6 months until the first transfer window following the start of your save to actually attempt to sign him. His valuation can fluctuate from anywhere between 5 to 20 million. It kind of depends on what version of him you get. If you get the best version, you're likely going to have to pay a little bit more to Antwerp, and if you don't get as good of a version, obviously he's going to be on the cheaper side. But he's a young French forward playing in the Belgian divisions, and straight away you will see he has a lot going for him. But let me tell you exactly why I think he is one of the best strikers to come out of FM this year. Firstly, his potential ability. It has been upgraded in the Winter Update, and he now has a potential range of 140 to 170. To let you know what that means, when you load up a save, a dice is rolled, and that determines the potential your player will have. So in the case of Ilenikhena here, he could have 140 PA, which would mean he could potentially become a maybe Premier League level forward, lower level Premier League. But if you got a good version of him, he could become one of the world's best at that 160, 170 potential range. But the thing I love about him is, even if you got the worst version possible, he has the attributes to be perfect in this year's in-game engine. He's 6'1" with good acceleration, pace, strength and jumping reach, so he's very good in all the physical aspects of the game, and at 16, those physicals are going to go through the roof in the next few years. Mentally, he could do with some work, but it's the holy trinity in his technical attributes of dribbling, finishing and first touch where he really shines, with 15 dribbling, 15 first touch and 13 finishing. That's a phenomenal attribute set to have on a player of such a young age, and it makes him deadly straight away. So make sure you get him scouted at the start of your next save, see how he gets on at his club out in Belgium, and if he ends up becoming any good, you can go ahead, bring him to your side and reap the rewards of an absolute beast of a goal scorer. But how do you turn him into that? Well, that's where we lead on to the next bit. Of course, he is here at Real Madrid. He's got 5-star potential according to the game. That might look different on yours. We're going to be using him as regularly as possible in a very simple 4-2-3-1 system. As the advanced forward, we'll be asking the assistant to play him. He's also being mentored by Modric, and I think it was Carvajal as well. Both good personalities to try and rub off on Ilenikhena and improve his personality, which isn't too bad here at balance. For you, it might be different. Bear in mind, with young players, some of their attributes and hidden attributes as well that make up their personality can change from save to save. They can be variable, so do keep that in mind. But all in all, you should see this level of striker when you go and look at George Ilenikhena. When it comes to his training though, that's where things get interesting. Now, I like to use him as an advanced forward. I think it suits him very well. I think it's one of the best roles you can use this year, so make sure whatever role you want to use him in, you are training him in that area. But he, I would say additional focus wise, wouldn't need too much work in the technical aspects or the physicals. It's definitely in the mental areas of the game where he could use some improvement. So I know it's one that a lot of people don't like me suggesting every time, but I think final third or maybe attacking movement would be very good here for Ilenikhena to get him at a level where he's scoring goals very early on. People underestimate how important decision making, anticipation, composure and off the ball movement are for a young striker. Often it's nice to see see finishing, it's nice to see pace, but if you have these mental attributes, he is going to convert way more chances. So I would suggest that you focus on that. For us though, in these tests, we never choose an additional focus. We're going to leave it blank, simulate a few years ahead, and see how Ilenikhena gets on with natural development towards the lower end of his potential range. And here is the fantastic George Ilenikhena after some pretty good growth in the last few years of this save. Now, of course, he is starting for Real Madrid up front with great facilities and great teammates, so that's going to help him a lot. Obviously, you guys wouldn't start him for a team like Real Madrid straight away, but if he did get game time, if he did get football, this is what he could turn into. Currently, he's sitting at about 148 current ability, which means he's a little bit higher than his lowest minimum potential that you could possibly get. But this shows you, for your 10, 15 million £15 investment, worst case scenario, you'll be looking at something like this. A player who has 17 jumping reach, 14 strength, 15 acceleration, and very good pace too. Work rate, off the ball movement, decision making, and composure. The mental attributes are starting to balance out, but it's in the technicals where this man shines above many others that you will see in his position. 14 technique, 13 passing is great, but the first touch, dribbling and finishing, particularly the dribbling and first touch, make him a defender's nightmare. He's quicker than a lot of defenders, he's stronger, he's better in the air, and he can also dribble around them like he's Lionel Messi, yet he's 6'2" and a massive physical presence. This guy is genuinely a complete package as a forward, and he's proved that in the in-game engine so far for our Real Madrid side, where in Season 1 he bagged 24 goals in 37 appearances, and then the season after, 25 goals in 38. The boy is only 18, he's not even anywhere near his best just yet, but obviously you guys want to see what his best looks like, so let's forward a few years ahead and see Ilenikhena in his prime. Before we see this Wonderkid at full growth though, just to let you guys know very quickly, I do have my own YouTube channel as well, linked in the description, where it's more Football Manager content. We do YouTube shorts about Wonderkids you might not have heard of, so if you like these videos, you might like those, but also we do Football Manager rebuilds, where we take over a club. A lot of you guys watching tend to love those videos, so if you haven't checked them out yet, I'd really appreciate it if you could, but let's go and see this star at the age of 28, where he is now an absolute animal in front of goal. 16 appearances for France and 11 goals. I imagine some of those will have been off the bench as well. £100 million valuation, physical attributes that would blow any defender, any striker out the water. He is the best of the best when it comes to that kind of thing. And then mentally, I mean, considering where he was a few years ago, you can see a lot of the attribute growth that he has undergone is in this mental department, with that work rate, the off the ball work, the composure, the anticipation, and the decision making. He's now got 16 heading, 16 finishing, 18 first touch and 18 dribbling, 16 technique, 14 passing. I could keep going on about this kid, but there is genuinely nothing wrong with his game. He's perfect in all aspects, and he's proved that in the in-game engine, where he has been a goal-scoring phenomenon. 41 goals in 36 games in this season, 44 in 38 here, 43 in 38. This season, 28 goals in 25 appearances. Some unreal numbers here, but of course he's still got years left of his career, so let's see him at the end of it. And unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see what he looks like because he's retired at an earlier age, at 33 apparently. He scored 524 goals in 563 appearances. He won the Euros with France. He won the World Cup in 2030. Did he win the Ballon d'Or? Let's have a look. World Footballer of the Year. He has won it on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 occasions. The first one coming in 2028 at only the age of 22, beating Haaland and Mbappe to that trophy with 51 goals in 55 appearances, smashing the voting points, crowned as one of the best strikers to ever live, one of the best players to ever live. Unfortunately, he finishes his career at 33. I imagine his natural fitness wasn't high enough to keep him going any longer. Either that, or he realised he'd won enough Ballon d'Ors that he could go home now, finish his career, and be very happy with it, and you can't blame him. Either way though, George Ilenikhena is a player that you can pick up for 10 to 15 mil. Playing for Antwerp, you will have to wait a little bit, but if you can get your hands on him, you've got a beastly forward who's going to score you tons of goals, and for that reason, I'm rating him an 11 out of 10. I've been Jake for FM Scout, this is Wonderkid to Superstar, and this is George Ilenikhena.